Our coverage of transportation funding in Oregon continues tonight with a sort of status check on mega projects in our region. Last month, we told you about the Rose Quarter project in Portland. It's on life support after the Trump administration killed a big federal grant program, and the state legislature failed to pass a transportation funding package. But we're going to show you what's going on with 4 other big projects in the region: the Interstate Bridge Replacement between Portland and Vancouver, the Burnside Bridge Replacement, the Hood River Bridge Replacement, and the Abernethy Bridge seismic retrofit in Clackamas County. Abernethy is the only one that's actually under construction. That got underway in summer 2022. So let's start with that one. It's a large-scale retrofit transferring the whole bridge deck to a new set of support columns that can withstand a major earthquake and widening the deck while they're at it. The project will wrap up next fall, at least if nothing else goes wrong. Inflation and engineering and construction problems have already caused delays and nearly $300 million in price increases since 2021. Abernethy is mostly funded by bonds using money from the last state transportation package in 2017. The cost overruns means it's eating up much more of the 2017 money than it was supposed to, leaving less available for other bridge projects in the years to come. During this past legislative session, it was often mentioned that Oregon needs to replace about 1,000 aging bridges in the next few decades. Right now, we're averaging 3 per year. Long way to go. Heading north, let's check on the Burnside Bridge. This one is a full replacement, and the project will start by tearing down the current bridge so the new one can be built in the same place, which means there will be no Burnside crossing available for about 5 years. The start of construction was recently pushed back from 2027 to 2028, a delay that Multnomah County blamed on uncertainty at the federal level. And you see here, there's quite a bit of funding still needed for this project. They've received $7 million in federal funding so far, but are hoping for an additional $450 million in another federal grant to get the project fully funded. The county applied for it last year and struck out. Last week, county commissioners voted to try again, though there was some acknowledgement that the odds feel longer this time around and not wanting to waste staff time if it's a lost cause.
In light of the federal administration, I am glad we're applying. Yeah. I think that is the right thing to do. I appreciate our realistic expectations. I just am wondering, how all-consuming this might be for your time.
Yeah, I think we're realistic about our chances to be competitive for discretionary grants with this current federal administration. It didn't take that much staff work because we've already done it before. It took a little cleaning up. So if it really took a lot of staff work, I'm not sure the benefits would outweigh the work, to your question. But in this case, it does.
So we'll see about that grant, but you get a sense of why construction was delayed to 2028. Now to the biggest of the bunch in our roundup, the Interstate Bridge Replacement. It's a full replacement of the twin bridges that carry I-5 over the Columbia River, including a light rail extension to Vancouver. In 2023, the price tag was $6 billion. There's an updated cost estimate coming later this year, and it's widely accepted that the price will be much higher. The project team wants to start construction next year, but there's a lot that needs to happen before then. The project is still going through federal environmental review, which is supposed to wrap up this year. We're also still waiting on an answer to one of the most fundamental questions about the project. Will it be a drawbridge? That's what the U.S. Coast Guard wants, and the project team has been trying to convince them to change their minds for about 3 years now. But they're running out of time because they can't finish environmental review if they don't know what they're building. Okay, on the money side, the project does have a couple $2 billion on the line in federal funding and an application in progress for another $1 billion, though none of it is from the specific program that rocked the Rose Quarter project. So things appear to be okay for the Interstate Bridge project at the moment. But let's wait and see what that new cost estimate says this year, because that could have serious implications for what happens next. Now, about those tolls, COTEC's pause on tolling includes an exception for the I-5 bridge, so they're coming. They're going to start on the current bridges while the replacements are being built. Right now, that is scheduled to start in 2027. Finally, let's head east to look at the replacement Hood River Bridge. This is another full rebuild aiming to replace the current rickety drawbridge with a higher up fixed crossing with wider lanes and a bike and pedestrian pathway. The governor's tolling pause only applied to future tolls, and the tolls for this one are already in place. They cover maintenance on the current bridge, and they were hiked a couple years ago to start raising money for the replacement. Last week, the bridge team signed a contract for full design and engineering and are hoping to start construction in 2027, although that will depend on whether they can secure the rest of the funding. They're about halfway there at the moment. Money from the state of Oregon was pointed towards this project during this last legislative session, despite a full transportation package failing to pass. The project is planning to apply for a $500 million federal grant to cover the rest. So there you have it. Despite the bad news for the Rose Quarter project and the big question mark around the funding or the future of the transportation funding in Oregon, the other 4 mega projects are still standing. Though with the exception of Abernethy, they're each still in need of another large federal grant before years of planning and design can become reality.